Welcome to my last ever Thunderhill track day with my ND3 Miata in this current configuration, because the next track day we're going to actually be making quite a few changes to the car. So I want to see what we can do out here at Thunderhill East bypass with the current setup.
And stick around to the end of the video because there are three important things I want to show you. One of them is going to be a new PB. Another one is going to be an angry driver and the lessons learned there. But first, real quick on the car, Konig Hypergram 17x8 wheels wrapped in Vitour Tempesta P1 tires, Tecna Coilovers with sport springs, that's 8K, 4K front to rear. This has the optional Brembo BBS Recaro package, and on the front we're running Paragon R5 and in the back Porterfield R4. Keep in mind, these tires have had more than 24 heat cycles. They are well on their way out. The grip has been falling off, and we also have no tread anymore. And that's important to keep in mind because as we get out here on track at Thunderhill East 3 Mile, you're gonna see that it's actually raining. So not an ideal situation. It's early morning, which is already cooler track temps and lower grip. And then on top of that, having these tires which are well past their prime. And the reason I haven't replaced them yet is that I have new wheels and wider tires coming to the Miata very soon. Stay tuned for that. But also because we don't have the tread depth anymore, the risk of hydroplaning and such is much higher, and since it's raining, we're not going to be pushing it very hard at all. And you're going to see here on this first lap, after my out lap, I'm going to start testing the car for its, yep, you can see here I'm having to do some corrections. It's feeling very slick, quite loose, and I have no confidence with the car right now. And the important lesson I want to highlight here is that it's so easy for us as guys to say, hey, I came out here for a track day, I want to make the most of it, I'm just going to send it, whatever, it's not ideal. I don't think that's the right way to approach things. I think that's going to increase risk. Giving an indicator here for the Corvette C8 to pass us. And for those who don't know, my PB at this track is currently a 207.3 before this day. We're going to see if we can beat that. And I'm way off the pace right now. I'm going very slow. If you guys like these Japan driving gloves, they're actually World Cup themed. You can get whatever country you want from the World Cup at -273. Use my code JABAL273 to save 20% off on your gloves. And in fact, what I end up doing is cutting this session short. This is my first session of the day, which is normally a warm-up session anyways, but normally I'm going much closer to my proper pace. But given the conditions, I said, you know what, it's better to be safe than sorry. Given the tires, given the track conditions, given the rain, it's just not ideal. So even though I'm testing and building some comfort, as you can see here, getting a little bit of visible slip angle, I decide that it's just not worth it, and I end up pulling it in after just a couple laps, cut the session way short. Now this is an afternoon session, and this is where we have some of the spicy action that I want to show you guys. Just finished the out lap with a 219. This is going to be our first lap. Tires are getting up to temperature right now. Dry conditions, getting a lot more comfortable with the car, getting quite a bit more visible slip angle, as you can see. Right here, as you crest over, there's a little bump right there, and I had to correct because these Tecnas, especially at the rear, they're quite easily upset, and many other cars that I've driven on this track don't have that same issue. So I'm looking forward to some changes in suspension setup. We're going to see how that actually improves things on the track. Now take a look at this E92 BMW M3 in front of us. We're approaching pretty quickly. Should be able to overtake soon. As I reach for the shifter, I tried going into fourth, not realizing I was already in fourth. Approaching turn 10, my favorite, because we crest and you can get a lot of that trail brake rotation. All right, let's see if he'll give us a point by now. Got quite a run. We can go wide, but I don't know if he can see us in his blind spot, so I'm going to lift. right there, you can hear him get on the throttle. That's kind of confusing. I clearly was presenting myself. So I give a little bit of a flash on the high beams just to indicate, hey, I'd like to overtake. I want you to know that I'm here. Getting quite a bit of sideways action. There's the point by. Oh, and then he gives me the bird. That's not very nice. And look at my rear view. Oh, now he wants to flash me. Interesting. Let's go through this again. Now, important to note, immediately after the session, the owner rolled up to me furious, cussing me out, saying, how dare you? I've been tracking for years. I've never seen anything like this. You were impatient. You didn't give me the time on the throttle because he uses hand controls. I wasn't able to give you any liftoff before, and then you were flashing me, and blah, blah, and I just profusely apologized because in situations like that, you want to diffuse. I had to apologize many times and say, hey, it won't happen again, etc., etc. He was still very irate and surprisingly so. So I want to go into this in a little more depth, turn by turn, frame by frame, and see what lessons we can extract because I do think it's very important for us to be safe and happy and having a good time on track without any unnecessary antagonism or red mist, right? Now, a lot of important lessons here. Let's break it down. We're approaching turn 10. We're still gaining on this driver. Turn 11, 12, 13, this complex. Now we're really on him, getting a good run on him. I'm considering now overtaking on the outside if he's going to lift. But now I'm like, wait, can he see me? I lift. Right there, he gets on full throttle. So clearly doesn't want me to overtake, even though that would have been a perfect time. I already have the run on you. Just lift a little bit. I'll be on my way. This is high intermediate, so it's open passing, no point by required. But you still want to do so safely, right? So I'm not going to just go on the outside if I'm not sure if he can see me. He may track wide, which is the actual line you want to be on, and I don't want us to have an incident. But I want to show you that one more time. That's him getting full throttle, right? That's not good track etiquette, right? You generally want to let someone pass, especially if they're clearly faster than you. I figure maybe he doesn't realize, maybe he's not aware that I'm trying to overtake. And so what I do is I get behind, and right there, quick, couple taps of the high beam. Just a signal, nothing aggressive. That was a very sloppy turn 14, 15. Tires are still cold. But now he gives us a point by. Awesome, and he lifts. But oh, right there, he decides to give us the bird. Now, I don't think that flipping someone off on track is ever beneficial. You have these 3,000-pound vehicles, my Miata 2400, whatever, going at triple-digit speeds. You don't need the additional aggression. It's not necessary. So I'm not going to name who this person is. I see him at many of these track days, but I want to just highlight the lesson for everyone that let's not flip people off. Let's not increase aggression. It's not helpful. And then here, as I get ahead, look again in the rear view, he's going to high beam me in return, which I find more amusing than anything. And my first instinct when something like this happens is, of course, to diffuse. So again, I profusely apologize, try to diffuse. He was still irate for I apologized literally probably a dozen times. Hey, sorry, it won't happen again. You know, my bad. I wasn't trying to be aggressive, et cetera, et cetera. And he was, I've been to the track so many times. That was ridiculous. We're not racing. And it was quite uncomfortable and quite surprising that, to have such a strong reaction. So I went to my buddy Fenton from the Zygreen channel. And Fenton has been tracking twice as long as I have. I asked him, hey, here's the situation. Did I really fuck up here? Am I out of line? And he said, oh, no, dude, I flash high beams all the time, in situations like this. It's a nice way of just alerting someone, not in an aggressive way, but yeah, I literally did it earlier this morning and I had no issues. I said, okay, interesting. So that helped give me some perspective. So shout out to Fenton for giving me some perspective and some advice there.
Even Edgar, the event organizer, sometimes flashes at these events.
But you have to remember on track, emotions can sometimes be high, egos are through the roof, emotional maturity is oftentimes lacking. And anyways, I want you guys to be safe out there and have a good time. Getting quite a bit of sideways action here, turn 2. Track conditions are not optimal. The car is looser than normal. But I'm I'm also getting more comfortable on this track. As you guys know, I've only been on this track since August of last year. So I'm slowly building pace, slowly building comfort, and also just getting more comfortable with my own Miata as well, which I've been tracking now for 1 year. Oh, beautiful etiquette. Give him the peace sign to say thank you. Getting out of the way, lifting. That's how it's done. You guys will notice I'm carrying more and more speed here on turn 8 as I get more comfortable with the car, with the track. Also trying to carry more speed here on turn 9, which is also one of my favorite corners, because you're now getting a compression as you go over that increasing uphill ramp. So you want to use that to your advantage because you have additional grip during the compression. Again, turn 10, some of that control brake rotation. Also getting more comfortable here at this 11, 12, 13 complex where everyone cuts. They are going to be changing things during the repave because it does seem kind of pointless to everyone. By the way, the reason why the best time on my AIM solo is showing a 205 is that I reviewed someone else's car, one of you, a viewer's car earlier that day, and I didn't reset the AIM. You're gonna see me trying slightly different lines at 14, 15 here and there because I don't quite love the line that I took there, and you're gonna see that it alters a little bit lap after lap. 207.5, if you guys recall, my prior PB is a 207.3. We're gonna see if we can shave off some time and beat that. Getting a bit more sideways action there, turn 1. I'm gonna push the car a bit further, turn after turn. And if these Vitour Tempesta P1 tires were fresh and not having more than 24 heat cycles on them, I'm sure that we would easily already be in the 6s and be shooting for 205s. Same thing there, that bump with the Tecna is not ideal. I could take an actually wider line there to avoid that bump. Now look here, I'm driving the car more so than I'm driving the line. What I mean by that is I'm getting the car to its limit, even if that means I don't quite hit all my marks in terms of turn in, apex, track out. Carrying more speed there, a little bit more slip angle there as well. Turn 8, approaching turn 9, also trying to use that compression to our advantage, carry more speed. Now we crest, it gets light, gotta be careful. Lower grip at the crest, of course, higher grip at the compression. Approaching turn 10, getting on the brakes a little bit too early, not getting the rotation I wanted. Thumbs down on that. Nothing at the flag station, but oh, I see some smoke. Oh, there's a super sideways. He's stationary, so we'll just drive around him. Obviously that compromised our line, but safety is key. That will cost us a couple tenths, but no problem. Now going back to the idea of driving the line versus driving the car, when I first learned a track and when someone is a beginner, intermediate, totally missed the apex there. Went way wide. That gives us a better run on the main straight at least. Did not like that either. So when you first start, you want to drive the line. You want to learn the track and understand where you want to place the car corner after corner. Where do you turn in? Where do you apex? Where do you track out? But then when you start pushing, okay, so 207.4, we still went about a tenth faster than the prior lap. But there's still more time to be had. We're going for a PB, right? So as you start pushing the car more and more, you will not always be perfect in terms of hitting all your marks. In cases like that, is it better to dial it back and then not be at the car's limit to hit your line? Or is it better to be at the limit of the car and be slightly off from your line? Ideally, in a perfect world, you'll be at the limit and perfectly on your line. But I would argue that if you're an advanced driver and you're trying to chase lap times, yeah, getting a lot of sideways action with these tires and just track conditions not optimal. Generally speaking, you're going to be faster by driving the car rather than driving the line. So you're going to notice in certain places, like here, didn't quite hit the apex, right? But I'm getting some additional slip angle and I'm really at the limit of the car. So if I can get to the limit of the car and drive the line, that will be the fastest way. But then the next best thing after that is driving the car, not the line. Because when you drive the car rather than the line, you're understanding the car's limits and you can see at each corner what is possible so that in the next lap you can adjust and then hopefully get closer to actually being on the line and at the limit. I think too many people focus on just perfecting that line lap after lap. I think this is a great technique if you're an advanced driver. See here, also missed the apex, right? Not happy about that either. So if you're beginner, intermediate, definitely drive the line. When you start getting advanced, don't be afraid to start driving the car more so than the line, and then let the line follow suit. Right, at least we didn't completely botch the apex this time around on turn 14, 15. Carrying more speed here on the main straight as a result of having a better turn 14, 15. Still not perfect. And across the line in a 2-minute 7.02, which is a new PB. And again, by driving the car more so than driving the line, I was able to improve from my prior PB. But in this PB lap, there were obviously opportunities for improvement to hit the line better. So if I had a few more laps and a few more sessions, the goal would be to get those two things to converge, and then we would be into the 206s at that point. Now, as we close this chapter of the Miata build and go on to the next phase, I wanted to set the benchmark for what my 3 PBs are, because as we now change the car and improve it, we're hoping to shave additional seconds. So here at Thunderhill 3 Mile East, of course, it's 207.02, and Laguna Seca, it's a 145.5, and at Sonoma, it's a 152.8. And looks like we have a C6 Corvette on onboard duty. My friends, let me know what you think with a comment down below. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.